Thanks for joining us. Help our channel grow by clicking that subscribe button. Helps get the word out. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, TikTok, Ray Benny Sports. And you can also find us on Reddit.
We got Winnipeg Blue Bomber talk, CFL talk, NFL talk, hot topics, and more. But let's start off with the Winnipeg Jets, who just came off of a great win by San Jose, finishing a 5-game home stretch. The Jets week that was. Let's start off with our favorite. The Jets week that was.
You know what? It started off. I got two terms almost. Like it started off with a disaster against Calgary, and then glowing performance against Nashville. You know, it was a little bit different, and then obviously a good one tonight. But to me, if you talked to me after that Calgary game, I would have told you, "Hey, it's over. Pack it up. The Jets are done."
Oh, so, really? Really?
Man,
that was the mood after that one.
Oh, that's what it totally was, especially after that weekend, the weekend that was where they blew out Detroit and New Jersey. And then you follow up that performance against Calgary, who was on a back-to-back, and your third period was terrible. So yeah, that's mine. But
I got you. The Jets week that was for me was nerve-wracking. There was so much weight put on that Calgary game. I was just sitting, my fingernails were being dug into my palms. And of course, just to lose that badly. To just get beaten 3 goals in a row, all the steam was out. I thought, hey, they started off great, but then Markstrom was just a wall after that. Props to him, and Calgary wanted it that game,
which was
so played.
Which was funny because Markstrom hasn't been great over the last stretch for Calgary, right? And then he comes in to play Winnipeg, and it's like he's lights out, making all kinds of saves, turned around and making saves, and it's just like, what the heck, man, like tonight. So
the Jets did play good that game. Don't get me wrong. Like even
besides the third, they weren't good until they were down like 13-5 in shots.
Yeah, no doubt, eh?
And then they woke up. But
like you said the week before, they were getting the breaks that they weren't getting during that whole dry streak. And this game, even according to Bonus, his quote, even at the end, Adam hits the post. Nick has a breakaway. They went in the last couple games. They didn't go in tonight. So that was kind of the Calgary game. They did play well, but Markstrom played well, and they just didn't get those bounces that you talked about the week before.
Yeah, it reverted back to that other one, like the games before the New Jersey Detroit game, right?
Yeah,
and you're like sitting there going watching. Okay, this is a bad omen to start the week, especially when you got big games. Like it didn't. You know what? As much as we'd like that Calgary lost to Chicago, it almost didn't help, right? Because then we're thinking, okay, we win this game, we've got it clinched, it's over. Calgary just lost last night to one of the worst teams in the league. We should be able to win, no problem, right? And then Calgary comes out and they play a lot harder. That probably helped them that they lost that game.
Oh, they were angry
because they needed it. They knew they couldn't lose that to the Jets, right?
Yeah. And
they started off slow, but they looked like the team that wasn't on the back-to-back, where the Jets looked like that they were on that in that third period. So yeah, it was unfortunate, but they turned it around. So
and they look good against the Preds. Like is that. The Preds that were going on that run at the end of the season after the trade deadline, everyone, put them in for dead, whatever. And then they just look good riding on Soros. And that was a good goalie duel. Soros had a great game. Hellebuck had not a great game. They both had solid games. I just thought that something might happen. Either, a fluky goal, a dirty goal, or a power play in Nashville, and they turned the game around. So I was watching that game till the end.
Well, it's tough. Even tonight when you're watching, the Jets 20 seconds in and they give up a goal and you're sitting there going, oh, is this what we're in for? And you're thinking back to last time they played James Reimer, who had the 41 save shutout, and you're thinking, okay, it's not going to go well, but you know what? They turned it around right away. They got a power play, they scored, and it's like they took over the game from there. Yeah. They were dominant. Even that first, I think they had over 30 shot attempts in that first period, only about half on net. But, they're buzzing. And Adam Lowry, to me, has probably been one of the best Jets over the course of the last month, probably, or a few weeks. And even
third line's coming together.
Oh, yeah. I love that third line, actually. Yeah. They found some good pieces there.
Yeah.
And it's a tough, big line with Lowry and Niederreiter. And then you got Apple doing a little bit smaller guy,
but he
weight-wise, but he's in there, right? And he's just so.
And they look great. Like, even they didn't get as many points as they did tonight against the Sharks. They look great against the Predators. They're part of the reason why they're just smothering the Predators in Nashville's zone, like all of the pretty much second half of the game.
Yeah.
So shout out to them. I will give them a shout out later. There's my shout out. I already gave it out. Never mind. I'll give it to them twice. So let's keep talking about the Sharks game. A good game, 6-2 result. shaky start by Winnipeg. Like you said, quick goal, but a quick response. My concern last week is, are these the lineups? And they might be, but what happens when they face adversity? Didn't look good against Calgary, but the adversity, they scored quick right away against the Sharks every time they scored.
Yeah, and it was a power play that got them going, right?
Yeah.
San Jose scored right away, and then the Jets got a power play, and they connected Ehlers to Scheifele to Dubois, and it's like, okay, right on. And the power play ended up 2 for 2 tonight. So that's a, the way that's been for the Jets on the power play, that's a great sign to see that happen tonight.
Absolutely.
And they outplayed San Jose, and they should have outplayed San Jose. But watching them play San Jose the last couple of times, the late goal in the one game that they ended up losing, the 41 save shutout, you're thinking, they just struggle for some reason against one of the worst teams in the league. But they took over.
Especially when San Jose scored at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no. They're like, is this a team that went like 8 games in a row where they let the team score first and they lost all of those games? But no, they came back and man, they look good.
And it was such a signature goal against for the Jets. It's a 3-on-3 rush. Where I think the one San Jose guy almost picked Neil Pionk, I think it was, on the play and took him out, just grabbed him. But they got turned around where Niederreiter chased one guy and left the other guy open, and the other defenseman, I can't remember who, was just nowhere to be found in the whole play. And it left Carlson open. You don't want to leave Carlson of all guys open right in front of the net. So
they weave through the middle in that play. It looked like the Harlem Globetrotters on that one. Just were looking around that little sweet, but they did come back with a nice goal by Dubois. And that was also created like the power play with Ehlers and moving that puck around and creating space for other guys by holding that puck. He's a playmaker.
Yeah.
He'll give you a strong 20 seconds. And that's part of the reason why his minutes are low. He doesn't play long shifts, but he'll give you a strong 20 seconds.
That's because he's usually wheeling and he's speeding down the ice, right?
Yeah,
he's not just gliding around half the time. So
it was a great effort.
And then even the second goal, hard work by Niederreiter around the net. And Reimer, I don't know what Reimer was doing on that one. Tried to grab Niederreiter, but and then Lowry outmuscled his guy to get this stick on the puck. So good effort all around. It was good to see. That they followed that Calgary game up with 2 good games against Nashville and San Jose. Yeah. And right now they're sitting pretty for a playoff spot.
Like, I can't remember, it's about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and I can't remember this coach's name, but Lowry went back to his old face-off coach or something like that and got some mojo, and he started winning those face-offs, and he won a crucial face-off in a game where it led to a tie goal later in the game, but any which way, where he won the face-off and then he moved to the front
scored
of the
the goal too, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah, he won the face-off, dirty face-off. He was on the ground, got up, went in front of the net. And ever since then, he's just been a presence in front of that net. And that third line has really picked up their game. And he's been the motor or the catalyst or whatever you want to call it for that third line.
Yeah, I feel like that was against Nashville, actually.
I was about to ask. Yes, I was about to say, was that Nashville? Totally.
I think so too, actually. Yeah, I believe it was. So yeah, and that's a good point, man. And he's turned it around. He had that midseason lull where he didn't score for 30-something games.
It was frustrating because he started off so well too.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. And it's perfect. If they can clinch a playoff spot, you need a line like that that's going to be heavy bodied and wear down the other team's top line. Because, I mean, let's face it, they're not going to have an easy first round matchup, at all here. It's either Vegas, Edmonton, could be Colorado kind of thing. So, yeah. Well, first we got to clinch, though.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about the upcoming week in the playoff picture. But just one last thing, glowingly about the Jets again. They had like double the puck possession, and in the second period, going into the third. It was crazy, and I think that's a key for them for winning moving forward. They have to win the puck possession battle, and they just have to control their own zone. And other than that, when they're pushing in the other person's zone and rolling that puck and cycling the puck, they look really good.
Yeah, they need those top guys. And this was a problem too with the Calgary game. You go back to that, is Kyle Connor, he didn't want to get physical in that game at all. He was just one-handing his stick in to try and get the puck. Any body contact, he was kind of backing off. So that was a frustration with watching that game. And you thought they reverted back to their old ways and they weren't going to get out of that. It was good to see them get out of that against Nashville, but they need that top line. They need that top line to throw the body around. They need Connor to get physical. And just play well together, and they have for the most part. So hopefully that carries on. They need one more point in their next 2 games. Overtime loss even, but even so, you hope they can win these next 2 and go in on a high note.
So let's talk about these next two. They got Minnesota and Colorado, divisional games, two tough teams, a back-to-back. Winnipeg traveling, not far, a little bit of a road trip, and they get to go on a plane for it. Minnesota, I think they won 6 out of the last 10. It should be a good battle, I think. One that they can win, but Minnesota also wants to go into the playoffs hot, obviously.
Yeah, and that's tomorrow already, right?
Yeah, back-to-back.
So, yeah, and Minnesota's playing tonight against Chicago, so it's not like Winnipeg gets a free ride there.
Exactly.
The one thing is, if Minnesota lose tonight, I don't think they have a chance to move anywhere else in the standings. No. So, not much to play for, really, for them if they end up losing tonight.
Are they 9 points up on the Jets or so? Well, 7.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets can't catch them. 7 right now, as of right now. But they're 4 back at Dallas. I don't know if Dallas's win is in the standings here yet. 4 back of Colorado. Colorado still has 3 games, so they'll be in tough. I mean, they still got stuff to play for if they lose tonight, but yeah, it'll be a big game. And they're 0-3 against Minnesota this year.
Exactly.
6-1, 4-1, 4-2. So
you don't want to go 0 for especially going to the playoffs. You don't need one of those games. So
no,
they gotta take a point. If they take a point from Minnesota, that'd be great.
Yeah, because then you're done, and then you could maybe even give Hellebuck a rest against Colorado, right?
That would be the great scenario.
The guy's played so much over the last few weeks, so it'd be nice if you can give him a rest into that Colorado game, and then, they probably don't start playoffs until Monday next week or something like that. So
yeah, that's so important, this Minnesota game, because I don't want to be messing around with Colorado. They're like, what, they won like how many in a row? 6, 5 in a row?
Yeah, they're
their last 10.
5, 8 and 2 in their last 10.
Get out of here.
But the funny thing is the Jets have actually done better against Colorado than Minnesota. So
I don't want to bank on that. I don't want to bank on that. I'm sorry. I don't want to bank on that. I want the Jets to have clinched. Colorado just, they do have a lot of stars on their team, but they've been gutsy this year. I want to make sure, hey, this is my Jets jersey. It's not a Colorado jersey, just to make sure. But, they've had injuries, and McCarr, I think, is injured. He might be injured.
McCarr's still out, I think.
So
Landeskau is still out, I believe, too. So
holy cow.
And they're still battling for first in the conference, right? They could still get it. They need some stuff to go their way, but they still have a chance. So they're not gonna roll over, and they're still playing for first, at least in the division. So
yeah. Before we move on to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, can I throw a little bit of shade at the Jets?
Yeah.
Can I throw a little bit of shade? The only thing I'm concerned about this week is it's so weird watching them bring the puck into the offensive zone. They are so awkward.
Oh yeah.
And this is no knock on any youth hockey players. I watched some great playoff action recently, and the Jets look like some of these youth hockey players bringing the puck in. There's no game plan. It's a relief when they dump it in. I'm like, oh, at least they have a chance. But if it's not Ehlers bringing the puck in, it's a little messy. So that's still a concern of mine.
Oh yeah, they don't have a very good carry the puck over the blue line team. Even on the power play, sometimes it's like you're holding your breath.
What's the plan here?
Yeah, no.
Like anytime that puck gets around center ice, it's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
For the most part, it's getting dumped in.
Yeah. Are they playing shinny right now? What is going on?
They still definitely have some work to do, for sure.
Yes, exactly. So I just want to throw a little bit of shade. As much we've just heard a lot of love, gotta show a little bit of shade.
Exactly.
Let's move on to some Winnipeg Blue Bombers and CFL talk. We've been having some great conversations about offensive starters, secondary, linebackers, defensive line. So let's get to the trenches here. My favorite position to always look at, the greatest offensive line in Bomber history. And we're going by position here. We're taking tackles, we're taking guards, and we're taking a center. So let's start with the tackles. I'm assuming we have the same ones here. I'm assuming because the two I have are probably the 2 greatest linemen in CFL history. It's debatable, but hey, they're in that debate.
Well, I know we'll have one for sure. Well, I'm assuming the other one as well, but we'll see, I guess.
Who you got?
Tell me who you have first.
I got Chris Walby, 63 Walby for sure. Hometown, played it's like 16 years. That dude has like the consecutive game streak behind, I think it was at Cameron and Westwood. On offensive line. And the most challenging. And I got Stanley Bryant.
Okay. Yeah. Same. Yeah. I mean, there are no brainers. Like even especially Wallaby. It's like, okay, as soon as he sent me this, I'm like, okay, Wallaby first, like no question. He's there. 3 Grey Cups, how many awards did he win? CFL Hall of Fame, Bomber Hall of Ring of Honor, all that stuff. Right. Absolutely. And same Stanley Bryant. He's just been a wall there for the last, how many years now has he been here? 5, maybe less.
6 years.
Yeah. And he's just been a wall there at left tackle. Right. Just huge guy, great player. So yeah, easy to pick the 2 tackles.
Honorable mention goes to Frank Rigney. Back in the glory days, such a consistent tackle, like championships with Bud Grant and also Dave Mudge.
Yeah, it's funny. They did have a lot of great tackles. They had some really good ones, and it's hard to stack up to these 2 with Wallaby and Stanley Bryant, but they still had some good ones.
Like, that's crazy that Bombers have 2 of possibly the greatest offensive linemen in CFL history.
Yeah.
Like, it's a small league. Everyone should share in that, but sorry. Let's look at what?
No, yeah. I mean, it's totally true.
I thought
they were dominant, man.
I thought you were rubbing your hands. You had something to say.
No,
Let's move on to guards. Guards will be interesting because guards are like unheralded.
Yeah,
they're getting the dirty work done. Same as a center. We'll get that in a second. But there's only 1 center. But 2 guards here. Give me one of your guards that you got.
This is where I found it a little bit harder to find. And it's a CFL, so it's hard to like. I don't remember who played what position along the line for the most part, right? I mean, there's certain guys, Wallaby, Stanley Bryant. I know where they are. Guard, it struggled a little bit to kind of figure it out. So I ended up going with one of them as Brent McNeil. Just his tenacity and nastiness on that O-line. He fit in that spot. I just remember him very well from that. And he wasn't on a lot of, he was on the 2001 team, obviously, but there was some lean years with him too. But he was always stepping up and playing hard. So I went with him as my left guard, I guess. I'm not sure if he was left or right. I couldn't really find out for sure.
I got you on, like, I didn't take Brent McNeil, but I remember my dad and I used to go to games, and that guy was a terror on the field. And he had that long hair, and it was wet, and he looked like the Undertaker. He looked like the Undertaker. I'm like, boom, that guy's going to take someone out. So yeah, that's a good one. I did not pick him. The guard I picked, one of them, is Nick Mastaya. He was just like,
see, and I totally forgot about him. Yeah,
he was a constant on the Bombers line, 2-time CFL All-Star, divisional All-Star, and he was also CFL Lineman of the Year in '85. That is hard to do when you're a guard to get that recognition. So he didn't start his career in Winnipeg, but his best years were in Winnipeg, 80 to 88. He got a couple of championships in there, so I'm gonna give Nick Mastaya one of them. Who do you got?
And that was a tough thing. Like I totally forgot about him, kind of thing, and finding other ones. So I went with, and I'm hopefully I'd say his last name right here, Robert Mole or Mole, Molle.
Bob Mole.
Bob Mole. There it is.
The wrestler.
I went with him as my other guard again. And like you say, right, guards, they don't usually get a lot of credit or a lot of awards and stuff like that. And he didn't have a lot of that either, but he was a steady force on that O-line for the Bombers as well. He's in the Bomber Hall of Fame. So I picked him as my guard, as my other guard.
Good. He's really good. And that's the thing with guard, like Nick Mastaya, he should be in the CFL Hall of Fame. Like he's multiple championships as guard as he won CFL Lineman of the Year as a guard.
Yeah.
Put him in the CFL Hall of Fame. What's wrong with you? My other one is one that's less known. I went deep into the archives for this, and the dude's name is Les Lear. I did not see him play. This dude, he was born in North Dakota, but was raised in Winnipeg. Played in 5 Grey Cups, won 2 of them in 39 and 41. Then he went to the war, and then he came back, and then he played in the NFL. He was the first ever Canadian-trained football player to play in the NFL. And then he went on to coach on the staff when Calgary went undefeated and won the Grey Cup. So I didn't see him play, but on that resume alone, he's going to go on my list. I'm going to take Les Lear. And center. Who
do you got for center?
It's my turn for center?
Yeah.
I gotta go with John Bonk. I gotta go with John Bonk. The guy wore 43 as a center. He's a CFL Hall of Famer. All of these guys are CFL Hall of Famers, or possibly Stanley Bryant will be. And of course, like I said, Nick Mastaya should be. But John Bonk came into the league as a linebacker.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
And then left as a CFL Hall of Famer center, Cal Murphy. So John Bonk I got.
Yeah, I got John Bonk as well. Had 4-time CFL All-Star, 4-time Divisional All-Star, most outstanding offensive lineman in '84, and just other accolades from the Bombers as well. So I went with John Bonk as well.
And I'm going to give a shout out to Lau Bauer.
Yeah,
he's a great center, but he's also should be known as taking the Bombers out of the dark times financially and just as fan wise. We lived through it. That was a dark time to be a Bomber fan.
Time.
Yeah, I know. But he came back with a plan and he brought him out, so much so that Calgary hired him afterwards. And of course, he started the Never Alone Foundation. So shout out to Lyle Bauer as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Man, good memories with those offensive linemen.
Yeah. And hey, drop us a comment, give us your 5 O linemen as well. There's some guys obviously that we haven't seen play. Maybe there's some guys that you guys have seen play. Yeah. Let us know who we're missing.
And Jamarcus Hardrick's going to be on that in a couple of years or so. Has a great career so far.
But the thing is, he's playing the same position as Welby. So it's like,
he's the opposite side.
What?
So, yeah.
Isn't Hardrick right tackle?
Stanley Bryant is with Chris Welby, and Hardrick is with Miles Gurrell.
Oh, okay. Right.
That's who he's fighting. Miles Gurrell was great too. The bookends, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
We've been so lucky with offensive linemen in Winnipeg. The Hogs. CFL talk. Let's move on. Chad Kelly has NFL on the mind and CFL contract issues. Feels he's a bit underpaid. I like this kid. I always, me, I want to see the Chad Kelly package, and I love seeing him. Sorry, as a Bomber fan, I didn't love seeing him do it, but I respected him getting that 20-yard run on the 2nd and 15 in the Grey Cup. I've always respected him, but I don't like his comments about, he's got to shut his mouth. That's what I'm saying to start off.
You would think after what happened in the NFL, how he ended up, getting drafted late, like he was the last player drafted, how he got dropped, you'd think he'd be a little bit more humble.
Yes.
Right. And really all you've done in the CFL at this point is, yes, you won the Grey Cup, but really you made one run, get out there and show a season, but you can do this for a whole season, and show if you can get that swag back. But apparently he's never lost that swag. His contract is terrible for a starter. I'll give him that. It's base salary of $87,000, I think. And he could get up to 200 something in incentives, but he has to get MOP and all that stuff. So
5,000 yards
passing and 5,000 yards passing. But it's like, come on, man. You know what? Go out there. He figures if he wins another Grey Cup, this is his pathway back to the NFL. But he also figures he's good enough to play in the NFL. And apparently Marcus Brady told him a lot of teams would take him, but they don't want to cause trouble because he'd be better than their starter. I don't know where he's getting this information from, if Brady actually even said that, but he is.
Please.
Wow.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
No.
I agree with you. Go out and prove it. My fear is that this guy faces the fire. He has a couple bad games, and then he turns into that kid that got into fights with his coaches at Clemson. He turns into that kid where he went back to Buffalo and punched the bouncer and fought the police. I don't know. Like, he might not have been drafted if his uncle or whatever wasn't Jim Kelly.
Yeah, he wouldn't have.
Kelly and John Elway are close.
Yeah.
And he was a 7th round pick of Denver.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's it. Go out there, keep your mouth quiet right now and go out there and show that you can actually play football and see if you can tear up the CFL, right? Let's see what you can do. Exactly. We expect him to play well. We think he can do it. I don't think he's going to tear up the league. But apparently he's gotten compliments too from Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Donald that he's a very good quarterback. So,
okay, whatever.
He's an interesting fellow. We'll see what happens there in Toronto. But
exactly, win the starting position first in Toronto, and then let's see what happens.
That'd be hilarious, actually, if Toronto, whoever else they're bringing in, if they end up beating them out for the starting job after this kind of stuff.
I hope they sign Vinny Testaverde Jr. Let's stay in the CFL East, and let's stay with Toronto then. We're going to do, last week we did burning questions of the CFL West. This week we're doing burning questions of the CFL East. And I'm going to say straight up, my question in Toronto is, can Chad Kelly mature and take the next step as starting QB?
Yeah, it's basically the same as mine. Is he ready to be a starter? And we just talked about it. Is he ready? We'll find out. So far, he thinks he's really good. So we'll see where that goes. Right. But like you said, once he faces that adversity, if he has a couple of bad games, we'll see what happens after that.
Exactly. He could be a real something in the locker room. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to Hamilton. What's your question for Hamilton?
A lot of mine are going to be QB related here. And mine for Hamilton is, does Bo Levi still have it? Can he rebound after a so-so season last year where he got benched?
Yeah, that's what I have as well. Can Bo Levi return to being one of the best in the league? There were flashes there. And there obviously he can pull out a game or two, but he is a full-time starter there right now. The way he's paying they're paying him, he's got to be. Can he do what Caleros does week after week? We'll see. That's the question I have.
And that's the one
answer now.
That's the one thing is he has to be able to take a back seat and not be the superstar of the team and just get things done now, right? Like Caleros kind of did. Caleros is not the guy that's carrying the Bombers. A lot of it's D, and he's got some good weapons around him and good Oline, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And he stepped back. Can Bo Levi do that as well? We'll see.
Didn't they get what's his name from BC, the running back?
Butler?
Did he go to a different team?
Can't remember now.
Did he go to Montreal?
No.
Ah, well.
Did anyone go to Montreal?
Oh, yeah. Your boy Cody Fajardo. I was like Fajardo 4G.
Fajardo further.
Let's go to Ottawa. My question for Ottawa is, can Bobby Dice take the next step as head coach? Can he be leader of men? We have the same thing, don't we? Son of a bunch. Can he lead the team through training camp? Yeah, it's his first time running the show. I'm going to be cheering for him. That's my team in the East. This coming up season, can Bobby Dice take the next step?
Yeah, and that's it. Is Bobby Dice ready to lead a team now? Right. Yeah. And I'm with you. I hope he does, and I hope Ottawa does well. But we'll see. He's been a special teams coordinator for so long. Can he take the next step? And hopefully he can.
Fingers crossed. What question do you have for Montreal?
Going back to the QB here, and is it now you're getting me messed up with saying his name. Can Cody Fajardo regain his confidence?
We'll see. We'll see. Meineke's gone. We'll see. And what's his name's gone? Their number one receiver. He's in
Gino Lewis.
Now.
Yeah, they don't.
The highest paid player in the CFL.
Gino Lewis.
Receiver.
Yeah. I think he ended up getting it. Yeah.
My question for Montreal is, for old men, can the new ownership rekindle the city's love for the Owls? Can they fill up the stadium? I don't know if it's Molson Percival still, but can they fill it up? Can they get that energy? Of course, winning does that. But at the same time, also being out in the community, making an attachment to the people of Montreal again. That's my question. Can the new ownership, with all that money, rekindle the Montreal Owls?
Yeah, and it'll take winning on the field, obviously, to bring that back too. So, but hopefully they invest into it. We see what BC's new owner is doing. That guy is doing great work there.
Absolutely.
And hopefully some of these teams can follow suit, the ones that are struggling a little bit, see what he's doing and take some pages out of his book and build.
Okay. Let's keep talking CFL. I love talking CFL, and it's not even CFL season yet. Is it June yet? Let's talk about greatest free agent signings. This is like all time since free agency started, whenever that was. Put that in the comments section. When did the CFL start their official free agency period? Any which way.
Yeah, the NFL was 93, I think it was, or something. So I figured the CFL was
before that.
Was it before that?
Yeah, okay. CFL's before that. Well, CFL's always been ahead of our time. So I'm just saying. Let's go again from the coast to the center of Canada. BC. Who do you got as BC's best ever free agency signing?
I'm going to admit this was tough. It's tough to figure out who was the free agent signings. And I went, and I know he came from the NFL, but I went with G. Royce Simon. He was with the Bombers for a bit, went off to the NFL, and then ended up going to BC and setting records and being in BC for a long time. So I went with G. Royce Simon. So
we should make that clear. That a free agent can't be like straight from the university, boom in, straight from the NFL, boom as a signing. They have to have some CFL experience and then go to another CFL team. That's a qualifications for free agents. So anyways, BC, I got Sean Millington. And he signed twice from Edmonton as a free agent. 2-time most outstanding Canadian, 2-time Grey Cup winner, most outstanding Canadian in the 2000 Grey Cup, 3-time All-Star, CFL All-Star. Sean Millington is my BC free agent. Calgary.
Yeah, that's another good one.
I think we might have the same one for Calgary.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard not to. Who do you got for Calgary?
Doug Flutie. I mean, he got signed over from BC. He won the Grey Cup in '92. Set all kinds of records, destroyed the league, and it's all said and done.
He was so annoying to watch. He knew it was game over when he stepped on the field. It was the worst watching that guy on the other sideline. He won the Grey Cup his first year in Calgary.
Yeah. Against who?
And then he won 3. I'm not saying that. I'm not addressing that. And then he won 3 MOPs in a row. Third, his first one being in BC when he threw for over 6,000 yards, which is crazy. And when Calgary signed him, he was the second highest player behind who?
Pinball? No.
Close. Same
Ishmael.
team. There you go. The Rocket.
Yeah.
And then his last year, he didn't play the whole year in Calgary because he got injured, and then Jeff Garcia went nuts.
You got to wonder why BC would have let him go. Just pay him.
I know.
Like, he threw for over 6,000 yards. Did you think that was a fluke?
Isn't that insane? Not like over 6,000 yards, 6619. He was closer to 7,000 than he was to 6,000. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Wow, BC. You could have had a dynasty forever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who do you got for the Edmonton Elks franchise?
You go first with this one. I did the last 2.
Okay, I got Willie Pless. He started his career in Toronto, and then in '91 he signed in Edmonton, and he was a focal point of their defense for like 8 seasons. Defensive Player of the Year 5 times, 4 times in a row from '94 to '97. Willie Pless.
Yeah. I gotta agree with that one. I picked him as well, and he was just a dominant force on that D. So tough to play against, and whatever, So
yeah, you knew the running game wasn't going to happen.
No.
When Willie Pless was on the field, he was so good as a linebacker. Oh my gosh! Like Winnipeg, we've been lucky. We had like our all-time linebackers, but Edmonton's pretty good too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Edmonton's had some wicked players go through, some good guys on wicked guys on defense too. So they've been pretty stout.
Danny Bass and Larry Ruck.
Larry Ruck.
Yeah, Larry Ruck, the truck. Who do you got for Saskatchewan?
I couldn't really find much from Saskatchewan, so I went with Brendan Labatt. Yeah, signing over
that guy.
O-line, signing away from the Bombers, back to his hometown. He was a steady force on that O-line for Saskatchewan. I mean, he was a steady force for the Bombers, and he carried that over to Saskatchewan. So I went with Brendan Labatt.
That's a good one. I remember he's a great O-lineman in Winnipeg. He's a tough guy.
Yeah.
For Saskatchewan, I went with Vince Goldsmith. He started his career with Saskatchewan. He got like 20 sacks, and then Calgary signed him away, and he went back to Saskatchewan to win that Grey Cup in '89. And he got like double-digit sacks every time he was in Saskatchewan, except for his last year, before he got 9. So I'm going to go with Vince Goldsmith. He was a terror on the defensive line. Winnipeg. Winnipeg. Who do you got for Winnipeg?
This was a tough one. I went in the last few years with this one. I got 2 guys here.
One guy to start off.
I'm going to take Andrew Harris then.
Yeah.
Because it was part of that, and he wasn't the only guy, but he brought that hometown feeling to help lead the Bombers to some Grey Cup wins that we were severely lacking for so many years. And he was just a force on the field, almost like a cheerleader in a way to help carry that Bombers. So I went with Andrew Harris.
I agree. I have Andrew Harris as well. My shout out runner-up goes to Matt Dunnigan as a great dynamic free agent signing. Like, we never saw the Bombers really go out and get anyone in free agency until Matt Dunnigan. So I'm going to take Andrew Harris. Who's that second one you got?
I got Willie Jefferson as well, because, I mean, without him, we're probably not even winning these Grey Cups either, right? So
that's a huge one, yeah. Without a doubt.
I was thinking of the last few years of that, and I totally forgot about Matt Dunnigan. Not a little bit surprising there, but yeah, he was a great one too. But Willie Jefferson, he definitely helped with those Grey Cup wins.
Yeah,
he's been a force and still been there. And look, I mean, the guy's living here full time now in Winnipeg.
And he's going to be a force going through the season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing about Willie Jefferson. It's not about like the sack numbers, although he gets them, but it's the batted balls, it's the interceptions, it's the havoc, it's the double teams that's needed, or the extra running back that they have to bring in and take out a receiver. He causes havoc on the field. So yeah, Willie Jefferson for sure.
That wingspan is still amazing to me.
I know, eh? It's crazy. It's like when he jumps, it touches the trestle there on IGF Field. That makes it the loudest field ever in CFL history. Put your, best of in the comments below. Free agent signings and such in the West. NFL, let's move on. Quarterback still in flux, kind of. Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. What's going on with these quarterbacks? You can go first.
Apparently not much right now, but with Lamar Jackson, I'm assuming he is either going to stay in Baltimore or sign at some point, take the 1-year deal, or if they can work something out long-term, who knows? But I feel like that's where he's going to end up, especially with a signing that just happened over the weekend there in Baltimore at wide receiver.
Absolutely.
So I feel he'll stay there. For Rodgers, it sounds like it's still in the works. The Jets GM thinks it's going to be done soon or sooner or later, but he feels like it's going to happen. And really, the Niners entered that rumor mill for a bit last week, but I think it was more to just try to push this deal along and get it done. But probably by the draft, it'll end up getting done.
It has to be. It's done already. It has to be done. This GM doesn't go on stage with Boomer Esiason and say he's going to be here.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's done already. It has to be done. You don't do that. You don't show your cards that much without knowing. I don't care how many beers you've had, even if they're Bud Lights. It doesn't matter.
Good old Bud Light.
I know, it's delicious. And with Lamar Jackson, it's looking like he's going to stay. And we'll get into that in Hot Topics. I think he's going to stay. He might as well. He must
have found out at this point that no one is going to pay him what he's looking for. And maybe he'll sign that 1-year deal with Baltimore, go light it up this year. If he can stay healthy, then next year, maybe there's a chance of the team going in.
I'm glad no one's doing that and falling into that stupid Cleveland Deshaun Watson contract. Quickly, who are the 3 best defensive NFL free agents available? I have Yannick Ngakoue at the edge. Still 28, good edge rushers, stop the run. Rocky Yassin, I like that guy, cornerback, 27, good value. And I'll take an older cornerback of Marcus Peters at 30. Who are your top 3 defensive?
I was thinking about Marcus Peters as well. I ended up going with, we talked about him last week, Frank Clark, defensive end. He's still out there, still only 29 years old. Still should have some gas. I know he's got some off field and issues on the field kind of thing, but should be good. I also went with another defensive lineman in Poona Ford. 27 years old, out of Seattle there. Still, he was a great force on that line for Seattle. And then I went at edge rusher, Leonard Floyd.
I had him last time when we talked about NFL free agents, and I don't know why I kind of fell out of love with that dude. I fell out of love. Let's go Hot Topics. Let's bleed into that Lamar Jackson talk. Odell Beckham Jr. signed with Baltimore. Good signing. What do you think is going to come out of this?
It was a shocking signing to me because you're going to a team that technically doesn't have a quarterback, but they're offered in the most money, 13.8 guaranteed. Apparently he did go back to the Jets to see if they would match it because he was supposed to visit them. Jets said no thanks. So it's a lot of money coming off a guy with 2 ACL tears.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson must be going back to that. The social media post aside where they had a picture of them FaceTiming each other and Lamar Jackson was wearing his big ass gold bling Baltimore Shield chain. You don't wear that unless you're loyal. You know what I mean? That's not a piece that you wear out to FaceTime someone. I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson's is a good signing. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods. Do you think he's going to win another major? Yes, no. Why?
No. I think the grind of it is just too much. It takes too much of a toll on his body for him to get through a whole weekend, 4 days, 18 rounds, right? It's too much for his body at this point. I don't think he'll ever do it again.
I agree. He's physically broken down a lot. And you know what they say? Mother Nature is undefeated.
Yep.
Sorry, Tiger. I'd love to see him win one, but I don't think it's going to happen. No. NBA season officially over. This is a weird one because we don't do basketball, but we're going to do it now. Who's going to be in the NBA finals and who are we the NBA champ from people who don't know basketball? What do you got?
I know nothing about basketball, so I'm picking Milwaukee against Phoenix, and I'm picking Phoenix to win.
Oh, you got KD.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. I got Denver and Milwaukee, and I'm going to take Milwaukee to win the championship again. Benny, you got a brickhead for us?
Yeah, I'm going to give it out to Simon Fraser University, and they're pulling the plug. Maybe not the whole university, but the athletic, whatever you want to call them, for pulling the plug on the football season.
Stupid.
They were told that they would not be allowed to play in the NCAA division next in 2024, but they decided to just pull the plug this year. and not look into any other options because they said it was too complicated. So Simon Fraser University, your athletic department, head of football, whoever it is, you're getting my breakhead of the week.
Yeah, I don't like any like I've said this many times. I don't like people losing their jobs, but the athletic director effed up big time.
That's it. Athletic director, yes.
They failed the students. They failed all those players. What are they going to do now? What are they going to do now?
Yeah, where are you going to find a team this late, transfer over to other universities or whatever? Like, there had to have been solutions, not just pull the plug. And really, you still had a place to play this year.
Mm-hmm.
They still had a place. It was next year. And you had a whole year to start looking into different options.
What a joke. What a joke. Like, yeah. Shout out. I'm going to give my shout out to that third line that we talked about earlier. Appleton, Lowry, Niederreiter. They're just grinding it and getting better as we go on, as the team goes on, gaining momentum, hopefully, into the playoffs. But shout out to that third line. It was fun watching them tonight.
They've been really good. I'm going to give a shout out to a player that played in tonight's game, Clear Lake's Tristan Robbins, who made his NHL debut tonight, playing for San Jose against the Jets. So shout out to Tristan Robbins.
Yeah, smiling like a mofo. Benny, you got anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider, and have a good week.
Leave a comment. If you got a shout out, put a shout out there.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear it. Thanks for all the support. Great subscriptions. I'm going to steal the words of LeVar Burton. In the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment. Tell us what you think.